Riot just announced a new matchmaking system called Champions Queue. It's basically a Riot-ran North American super server for professional and top amateur players. This is the biggest change Riot's made to high elo NA solo queue in a long time, and there are 6 key factors that will either make this amazing or pronounce it dead on arrival. We'll get to those at the end of the video, so stick around. Champions Queue will be an invitation-only Discord for regular in-houses throughout the season. Invites will first be sent to players from LCS, Academy, LLA, and the top 16 teams from Proving Grounds. They'll also invite some recent LCS alumni. Outside of those players, a public application will open for Masters Plus players soon. All players will have to pass a behavior check to be accepted. There will be set game times daily from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. Pacific time, and then 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Mondays. These times are built around pro players' scrims and matches, ensuring that they'll be able to participate. Also, with a limited number of players, giving set windows will reduce queue times and increase matchmaking quality. And finally, Champions Queue will have a $400,000 prize pool spread out over the year. It looks like there will be a normal solo queue ladder that's tracked throughout spring, summer, and then preseason, and the highest players will get the prize money. Ultimately, I believe if executed correctly, this could be the spark that rejuvenates NA solo queue. Many players complain about how pointless it is to reach the top of the ladder. There's no challenger jackets, game quality is terrible, there's stream sniping, and there's no clear path to pro play from solo queue. Champions Queue has the potential to address a lot of these pain points. Knowing that there's an exclusive, invite-only server will motivate players to play their best to get an invitation, all while knowing they will need to pass a behavior check to get in, thus improving game quality in normal solo queue at the highest places. Most players are competitive at heart, and the idea of playing in a pure environment is incredibly attractive. Too many high elo players see solo queue as a joke, and this could solve the problem of game quality, at least to some extent. Also, it gives amateurs an opportunity to show their stuff against pro players, and put themselves on the map for professional play. This may be a clearer route to professional than anything NA's had in the past. And of course, the prize pool is pretty nice incentive for players to do everything in their power to make it. But now we get to the 6 things that need to happen for this to work. First, Champions Queue needs to have a zero tolerance policy for toxicity, boosting, stream sniping, and other negative behaviors. Riot has a fresh start to create a new environment free from all the typical high elo nonsense, so it's incredibly important to set the tone that negative behavior won't be acceptable. If they let their standards start to slide even a bit, soon it will become just like the other high elo games with rampant toxicity and soft inting. Second, the whole system needs to be manually reviewed by high elo players, not automated. And this goes for the background checks on summoners invited to the server, and also for the gameplay in the server itself. And it sounds like that's kind of what they're already doing or planning on, so they are on the right track. And this is absolutely necessary for them to get right, because high elo players are good enough that they can soft int the game in ways that no algorithm or automated system will ever be able to flag. So if they really want to get the highest level of players into the server, they need to have experts manually reviewing games. Next, the invitations and acceptance into the server needs to be based on performance only. No clout, no money, no way of buying your way in, not your brand, not your reputation. The only thing that should get you into this server is skill and your behavior. Those are the only factors. As soon as a content creator gets in, for example, who isn't qualified, the whole thing will go up in flames and destroy any trust that Riot's built. Proficiency as an all-around player is the only criteria worth considering. Fourth, they do need to come up with some clear one-trick pony rules. And I'm not sure whether or not OTPs should be invited in. I haven't made up my mind yet. On one hand, one-tricks are just as skilled at the game as other players at their rank, but playing in a closed environment makes them very susceptible to target bans, which hugely decreases the quality of games they're in. And the whole point of the server is to achieve the best quality gameplay possible. So I can't say whether or not one-tricks should be allowed in, but I know that Riot needs to have a clear definition from the outset. That may be a number of games played on various champs in Masters Plus with a certain win rate. I know that's not perfect, but something along those lines could at least be a start. And they need to have some kind of formal position from the get-go when it comes to one-tricks. It needs to be very clear of how someone can meet the requirements to lose one-trick status. Next, there cannot be live streaming in this server, but there should be later uploads onto YouTube or other video platforms. As much as we would all love to watch these games at the top of the ladder, there's a real threat of ghosting, and I don't see an easy way around this currently, so a no live streaming policy would likely be the best place to start. That being said, I would really like to see these games recorded and later uploaded to YouTube. First, this will give the rest of the League community great examples to learn from outside of just LCS, and will bring up the level of gameplay across the server. Also, this is a great marketing tool for all the players participating who have professional aspirations. Scouts and coaches can access their gameplay really easily rather than just relying on word of mouth for recruiting purposes. So ideally, the games are watchable after the fact, but are not live streamed. And finally, demotion is really important to consider. Just like normal solo queue, there needs to be a way for players to be phased out of Champions queue for inactivity or incompetence. Similar to Challenger status, I'd really like to see a hard cap on the number of spots open in the server. However, I'd like it to be easy for new players to get in. Ideally, there would be a decent amount of turnover to give new high elo players opportunities to shine. That means tight restrictions on inactivity and poor performance for existing members to make sure that everybody is getting in who is qualified based on their skill and behavior. And another factor is duo queuing, and I'm not really going to touch on this too much. I haven't made up my mind about queuing with multiple people and what that would look like, and I'm not sure it will even be possible in the Discord. It may be that the teams are randomly generated, in which case this is a moot point, so I won't speculate on this topic. But overall, those are the 6 factors that Riot needs to get right if they're going to save high elo in a solo queue. Hopefully they get it right and we'll have some good days ahead of us. Thanks for watching, see you later.